Dear friends, welcome back to this video series on air conditioning design. The objective of this video is to introduce to you one of the popular method of duct design. It is called as equal friction method. The expected outcome from this short video is you would appreciate what exactly is duct design. You would know the three methods. We'll touch upon the three methods of the duct design which are commonly used, and then we would discuss what is the equal friction method in a bit detail. So the focus would be on equal friction method for duct design. So what is duct design? Duct design primarily involves calculation of duct diameter. If it is a circular duct, or if it is a rectangular or square duct, we calculate what is known as equivalent diameter. So this is one of the important outcome of duct design. The second important outcome is you need to be in a position to select a fan of appropriate capacity. Appropriate capacity means the fan which would able to flow the air through supply duct and return duct with the minimum possible power consumption. If the design is proper, the transmission is proper, the distribution is proper, and the comfort would be at the highest degree. So one cannot but underestimate the importance, the significance of duct design. So what we would be focusing on today is the duct design methods. Before that, you find certain terms which are used in the duct design literature. One is the main duct, as the name indicates. It is the duct which is the longest and having a higher cross-sectional area, generally speaking, but it is handling the major flow rate. So it is the duct which starts from the air handling unit, if it's supply duct, okay, and it runs across the complete layout of the building. That is the main duct. This is the main duct, for example, and then there are branches, okay. These are the branches, this is the main duct. There is a term which you would come across which is called the index run. So the index run is not necessarily the main duct. Index run means it is the duct length, okay, duct length which is giving you the maximum friction drop. So for example, if you consider this figure, it could be that it could be that this is your index run, okay. So the index run is the one which is encountering, it is the duct length which is encountering the maximum resistance, okay, and that becomes very important, especially when you are talking about design methods, including equal friction method and the other velocity reduction method. So as I said, there are three commonly used methods for duct design. You'll come across these three terms. One is known as the equal friction method. The second is known as velocity reduction method, and the third is known as static regain method. So in some other video, I would explain the other two, the velocity reduction method and static regain method. But this video would focus on what is known as the equal friction method of duct design. Again, I repeat that by duct design, we would basically mean selecting the duct diameter, if it's a circular duct, or arriving at the duct width and height if it is a rectangular duct. Obviously, it also involves calculation of the frictional drop and the dynamic losses so that one can select the fan. What this equal friction method is and where is it used? So it is most popular method, was most widely used, and the assumption is, as the name indicates, focus on the name, is equal friction. So equal friction means in this design procedure, we assume, what do we assume? That the frictional pressure drop per unit length is constant, and it is kept constant throughout the geometry layout of the duct. It is first decided, means we as an engineer we would decide that what should be the frictional pressure drop per unit length of this duct. Okay, so suppose I decide the friction drop per unit length pascals per meter, then I keep this Pascal per meter constant in the entire duct layout. So here also the friction rate is constant. Here also it would be the same Pascal meter. Suppose it's X Pascal per meter. So here also it is X Pascal per minute meter. Here also it is X Pascal per minute. Any cross section, any length you take, you will have the same friction rate. That is a method. In this method, we design the duct such that the delta P by L, or the free pressure drop per unit length, is the same. And how do we decide how much should be the pressure drop per unit length? Because we are assuming it. So either we assume it on the cost consideration, because what is the cost consideration? Cost consideration would mean one is the capital cost, other is the running cost. Capital cost means what should be the size of the duct, how much material is used for that, and the second is the running cost, means how much electricity and how much energy bill we need to pay for running the fan which is used for circulation. Please note that these two things are opposing parameters. Means if I choose a duct of a smaller cross-sectional area, the cost, initial cost or the capital cost would be lower. However, the fan would have to overcome a greater resistance, greater pressure drop, and the electricity bill would be more. On the other hand, if I choose the larger cross section, the duct material would be more, the initial cost would be more, the space occupied would be more, and that is a disadvantage, but the advantage would be the running cost, the resistance encountered by the fan would be less, the fan pressure drop to be overcome will be less, and hence the energy bill would be less. So these are the two important things we need to keep in mind, right? So there has to be some experience going into what should be the pressure drop per unit length. This could be one criteria. The other criteria could be that in the main duct, we need to choose the pressure drop per unit length on the noise considerations. I'll come to that later. Once your pressure drop per unit length is assumed and then it is kept constant, then we need to move to the next part. What is the next part? The next part is determination of flow rate. As explained earlier, the flow rate, the total flow rate and the flow rate to the individual rooms to be conditioned, they are known from the load calculations. So this data, that is how much is the total flow rate, what is the flow rate to be supplied to individual rooms, all this data would come from the load calculations. So you know this from the load calculations because your duct design would start only after load calculations. This data is known from the load calculations, and the frictional pressure drop per unit length is assumed on the cost consideration or on the noise consideration. Now, what is the noise consideration? Noise consideration means the velocity on the main supply duct has to be maintained to take care of the recommended noise level. Okay, and you understand that if it is a residential unit, if I am designing the AC for homes, then my tolerance for the noise would be the minimum. I cannot tolerate more noise because the residences, we are expecting some calmness, some peace of mind. If it is a restaurant, obviously there would always be some chattering around. People sitting in cafeterias or restaurants, they would always be chatting, and that chat, that din which is created, that noise which is created, uh, would drown certain noise which is created by the AC system. So we can keep a larger velocity. We can keep a larger velocity if it is a restaurant or cafeterias. But if it is a residence, we need to keep the lower velocity. Now, how much velocity we need to keep, that we need not worry. It is already documented by ASHRAE all the air conditioning data books, you'll find this data. So we will not bug up this. We just remember that what is the order of magnitude. For example, residences, we need to choose the velocity of 3 meters per second. For cafeteria, it has to be 9 meters per second, like this. Okay, so these are the typical values. They are either expressed in meter per second or meter per minute. These are the recommended velocities. So for the supply main duct, we can choose this. Suppose I am designing an AC for residence. So this data is known. I know the recommended velocity and I know the flow rate. I know the flow rate. From that recommended velocity and the flow rate, I know recommended velocity in the supply main duct and the flow rate, I get to calculate what? I get to calculate the frictional drop per unit length. And once that frictional drop per unit length is calculated, in the equal friction method, I keep that friction rate to be constant throughout my duct layout. So using friction chart and knowing the frictional pressure drop per unit length of the duct, okay, as I explained how you get the friction pressure drop per unit length of the duct, and the flow rate. On flow rate from the load calculations, you can determine from the friction chart the equivalent diameter of the duct. So as we had explained earlier, the friction chart is a graphical representation which has 4 parameters on it. One of the important parameters is the frictional drop per unit length. The other parameter is the flow rate. And also on that same friction chart, you will find the velocity lines and the duct diameter lines. So using the friction chart, and by knowing the friction pressure drop per unit length and the flow rate in the main duct, you can calculate the equivalent diameter of the main duct. If it is a rectangular duct, as we had discussed earlier, we need to assume the aspect ratio and get the width and height of the duct, What happens? So it becomes very easy now that if you are using equal friction method, you just need to know the flow rate from the load calculations, and you need to keep the friction pressure drop per unit length constant. So you know the 2 parameters, and you are going to get the third parameter, namely the equivalent diameter. So that's all. But what? So it's a very simple method. You see, you get flow rate. You know flow rate from the load calculations. You have decided the frictional pressure drop per unit length of the main duct from the noise consideration, or you have decided that from the cost considerations. And once you have decided the frictional pressure drop per unit length of the main duct, you keep the frictional pressure drop constant for the branches, for all other parts of the ducts, all of the branches of the ducts. And then because you know the delta P by L and you know Q, you can always get the equivalent diameter of the duct from the friction chart. So very simple, very simple. Now this simple method has a disadvantage. Now, what is the disadvantage? What is the disadvantage? Imagine that the ducting has a combination of the long ducts and the short ducts So you have short ducts and you have long ducts. So if you consider the frictional drop in the main duct, that frictional drop resistance would be different, and your branches, short ducts, would have a different total friction drop. So the shorter ducts would have lower friction drops. The resistance encountered by the air in the shorter ducts would be less, and the resistance encountered by the ducts in the longer branches would be more. So look at the mismatch. Longer ducts experiencing more resistance, shorter ducts experiencing lower friction drop. Now, what we need to do, if we want to balance the system, if you want to maintain the velocity and flow rate properly in the system, it's called as balancing, then we need to keep that resistance constant. And for that, we need to introduce external resistance in the circuit. External resistance means what? We need to put the dampers, okay? If you are putting the dampers, then the friction drop would be balanced. The total friction drop would be taken care of. Because without that, the fan would have a difficult time flowing the air where the resistance is small, and flowing this air where the resistance is large. Same fan catering to two different resistances is not possible. So for that, we need to introduce dampers. And when I'm introducing dampers in the shorter ducts, that artificial resistance is going to consume electricity unnecessarily. So that is a disadvantage. So equal friction method is not advisable when the design is complicated, when the layout is complicated. Means we have a lot of short runs, a complicated duct layout, then that in that case, equal friction method is not recommended. You will have to use some other method named generally the static Regen method is used for complicated layouts. Okay, but in real life, you would find that such kind of layouts, some complex layouts are rare, and hence the most widely used method for determination of resistances or determination of duct diameter is equal friction method. To illustrate this, I'll just solve one small numerical which would clear you about the concept of using the equal friction method. So let us say that there are two rooms to be conditioned. One is a room C and other is a room D. Room C has more load, so let us say that we need to supply more quantity of supply air, conditioned air to it. Let us say that is 360 cmm, and this is, let us say, a smaller room, load is less, so we need to supply a smaller quantity, let us say 120 cmm. It means that total quantity to be supplied by the fan would be 120 plus 360, that comes to 480. So in this main duct, in this duct section A to B, the flow rate is known now. How do we calculate the flow rate? It is just a summation of these two flow rates, that comes to be 480 cmm. 480 cmm. Okay, this has to be cmm, not mm. This has to be cmm. So 120 cmm plus 360 cmm has to be the flow rate in this section. Now, so now in this section, you know the flow rate, right? And you know the velocity. I told you that this velocity can be from the noise considerations. So you know the flow rate, you know the velocity, you know two parameters from the friction chart. Now you can arrive at what? You can arrive at the pressure drop per unit length. You can arrive at the friction rate in this section AB. So using the friction chart, I have calculated the friction rate in the section AB. Now what I do is that I kept this friction rate AB same in the section BD as well as in section BC. Let me repeat what I said. I know the flow rate, total flow rate, as a summation of this flow rate plus this flow rate, that is I know Q. I know the velocity on the noise concentrations, let us say 600 meters per minute. So I know two parameters from the friction chart. I can calculate the friction rate. And because this is equal friction method, I keep this friction rate same in the section BD as well as section BC. So friction rate in BC is the same. Friction rate in the section BC is same and BD is same, and friction rate in the section AB is same. So now let us consider section BD. So what I know now? I know the friction rate which has been calculated earlier. What else I know? I know the flow requirement of this room, that is 120 cmm. So knowing this flow rate now Q and knowing this friction rate now delta P by L, I can calculate the diameter of this duct BD. This duct BD. Similarly, if I want to consider this, if I want to calculate the diameter of this duct BC, what I do is that I know the flow rate of this, that is, I know this is 360 cm, and I know that there is a friction rate which is kept constant. So I can calculate the diameter of the section BC. So it's very simple method. I calculated the diameter of section BC. I calculated the diameter of section BD by using equal friction method. I hope you understood this concept of calculating friction rate by equal friction method and using this equal friction rate for calculating the duct diameter. Thank you. See you in the next video. These are the values which I had calculated. Okay. That is the discussion on equal friction method. In the next video, we will be discussing the other two methods, namely